TikTok? Go f yourselves.
When Cody Ko and Noel Miller first called themselves Tiny Meat Gang, it was just a joke.
I don't even think people with it. I was like, this is weird.
7 years later, the name stands for one of the top podcasts in comedy.
Tiny Meat Gang.
Music with millions of streams.
I'm pretty sure Walkman is almost gold.
And live shows with sold out crowds. We sat down with them to talk about their new podcast network, TMG Studios, and the challenges they face going from creators to launching a network.
I think this is the first time we really delved into like the business. Hey, we have 10 people on payroll.
How the f do we pay for that?
We also talk about the YouTube landscape as a whole.
Like, how the f are we supposed to compete with that when that's the new bar of success on YouTube?
That's Cringe was working for us, but I remember telling Cody, I'm like, we can't just be two guys talking at a computer.
When we were actually in Elon Musk's house, both of us were kind of like, is this gonna be weird? And it was.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I'm just gonna f***ing blow it up.
Before we get into our interview with Cody and Noel, we want to thank the sponsor of this episode, Jelly Smack.
They work with some of the biggest creators in the world to help them distribute their content across the internet. Here's how that works. They would take a video like this YouTube video right here. They'd actually just pull it off of your YouTube channel and then cut it and optimize it for different social platforms and then generate revenue from platforms you didn't even know you could monetize on. Jelly Smack has just launched a new division of their company called Jellyfy to help creators get capital to hire a team, invest in a studio, or even fund your future ideas.
So as creators, we have this asset that is our YouTube channel, and we can use it to get capital today. That's based off of the earnings from our back catalog, as well as future earnings.
First, you need to pair your YouTube channel, and Jelly Smack's going to request read-only access to your channel. This means that they can only look at your analytics so that they can calculate the value of your videos.
Next, you'll have to enter your email so that Jelly Smack can reach out to you.
And lastly, they're gonna give you a few different options for you to review. Now, they do have flexible terms, but this is probably the most important step of it all. Make sure you have a really good plan for how you wanna use that capital today to make you money in the future. You can click the link in our description and explore the different funding options that Jelly Smack offers through Jellyfy.
All right, now back to our episode with Cody and Noel.
What we were talking about this morning, we were both talking about like when we first came across you guys. And
Yeah.
for me, I vividly remember the Mark McGrath video.
It's crazy.
I think that's one of like the funniest videos on the internet. I'm curious just like, you know, what you guys have built today with TMG Studios and all the different things you've tried to get to where you are today. Like where does this journey, if we want to talk about TMG, where does this journey start?
It started with the vlogs. We used to vlog at work when we were both engineers, and so I was just like joking about like an OBGYN like doing like a sonogram and then like seeing like your kid in the sonogram, but he's like holding his dick like it's like a dick pic, and just like and then I just said like Tiny Meat Gang, and then from there it just snowballed. And
every time we needed a name, it was like, okay, what should we name ourselves? And it was like, well, just for the time being, let's put in Tiny Meat Gang.
Yeah.
But like, we'll come up with something better later.
Yeah. It just, yeah, it was just a placeholder.
Yeah.
Got it.
So what came after vlogs?
If
TMG really started in those early videos as like a joke, what was the first thing that you had to put the TMG name on?
It was music.
It was music
yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, we just wanted to make like a parody song. And I think I was making fun of Everyday Bro or whatever.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to make beats. So now this is a really great excuse to like download FL Studio and try and do this. And we both put down like probably the best verse that we've ever written.
Yeah.
Eat a lot of food, keep your dick fat. Eat a lot of food, keep your dick fat.
Yeah, after that, Rick Rubin just burned down his whole studio. Like Shangri-La's meaningless. This is it.
Is there like, when you guys were first making stuff together, was there a thought of like, oh, this could be our career? Or was it just kind of like, this is cool and fun and...
It was, I don't think we were ever like really thinking long term, at least for me.
No, I wasn't.
It was like, I knew I wanted to make a go at this. So I really had to make the conscious decision, like, okay, I'm going to switch my visa to a visa that would allow me to do creator stuff. So my goal in my head was I have to match my salary for my engineering job. If I do that, then I can focus on whatever the next goal is. But like, that was the main thing.
Yeah.
And so that was always just like the goal. And then when we started the podcast, it was like, hey, let's make enough money where we can do this full time. We don't have to worry about getting another programming job.
Yeah.
And Patreon did that for us, like right off the bat.
This is episode 1 of the Tiny Meat Gang podcast. And so I want to give a big shout out to all the people
who are listening to this right now, because that means you are a supporter on Patreon, and we appreciate the shit out of you.
Yes, especially me.
Especially Noel, because he is 100% jobless.
So when you're thinking about matching your salary, the first move was setting up a Patreon for the podcast.
No, it was before that. It was trying to do it on AdSense, but that was right when the adpocalypse was happening. So that wasn't really working out. That's why I started doing the individual podcast, was because it seemed like longer form at that time was monetizing better. And then I was like, maybe I could get to a point where I could do like, host Red ads. And I know there's a lot of money in that too. So that was difficult back then because it wasn't just AdSense that you could rely on. It was like you had to diversify. You had to do merch. You had to try different things. And Patreon, there was a couple of podcasts on Patreon at that time that were doing well. So that when we decided to do ours, it was like, that seemed like kind of a no-brainer. It was like, we don't really have anything to lose by trying to launch this on Patreon first. And just seeing if people will pay for it.
Yeah. And the narrative, there was like a narrative with it, right? That was kind of like, we need to make enough money or if we make X amount of money, Noel will quit his job.
That was like the initial. So I had gotten laid off, and then simultaneously, like leading up to those moments, we had done a few episodes on his solo podcast, and they did really well. And so right when I got laid off, those were some of his highest performing episodes. So we were like, all right, it's kind of a no-brainer. We should make a podcast. And then, the initial narrative was like, Alina can stop paying for all the rent. And then we broke that goal pretty immediately, which was extremely surprising. And
I think that description is still on our Patreon, isn't it?
I think it is. Yeah. Which is good for a brand new person to come across like, damn, I should help this guy.
This guy's still trying to pay his rent.
This guy's help him pay his rent.
How much is this rent?
This guy's still
His wife is still covering everything.
He really keeps leveling up his house.
They live in the White House. What's going on?
Was it a dream for you too? Were you like, I'm down to leave my job to do this? Or were you a little bit more hesitant?
No, I mean, I've been doing stand-up for a couple years prior. I was full on doomer mindset. So I was like, I will take anything to get away from a desk. So at that point, I'm like, yeah, let's go.
What was your guys' first brand deal? I guess independently, together. Yeah, individually, it's something we ask all our guests.
Mine is ridiculous.
What is yours?
So my first brand deal was for the Sally Bong.
What?
God, I don't even know if I should admit this. It's the most bro thing ever. It's a woman mannequin body with a beer bong pipe. And I wanted to do it as a meta bit, making fun of it. And they sent me one to make fun of it. And then...
Did they pay you too, or was that the payment?
That was the payment. I got paid in Sally Bong. And I did the bit with it, and then after I stopped recording, I was like, this has to get out of my fucking apartment.
Actually, no payment?
Actually, no payment.
That's hilarious. I think my first one was, it was a tweet that I did for Klondike bars, or something like that. It was an ice cream bar. I think honestly that was my very first one. I was very, very anti brand deal for a while because I was an engineer. That was my thing. I was like, I don't need to make money through this. It's a hobby and it's going to keep being a creative outlet and a hobby. For some reason, I was really precious about that. I don't know why. It was I don't know. It was a
then you
personal
got that
code type thing. I was like, I'm not a sellout. And then
you got the
I saw that Klondike money.
What was the Klondike money at that time?
I think I got paid oh man, it was it must have been $5,000.
Jeez.
For a tweet?
That's 10 grand
crazy.
for 1 or 2 tweets. I remember it was the easiest money I had ever made. And I took it all out in cash and just took a picture with the cash and sent it to my friend. I couldn't believe it, honestly. I was like, this is a significant portion of my engineering salary that I just made in 5 minutes of work.
Yes, I got no money for the Sally Bong.
And was your guys familiarity with creators, because you're working at full screen? Do you guys become really familiar with how the business worked of creators?
I think me more than you.
Yeah, you, because you saw the numbers that they would pour into marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually he has a really unique insight on this. But
yeah, and it actually ties into how we built the network, and I
Yeah.
can elaborate on that later. But
let me just say before you jump into
go
that,
ahead, go
right
ahead.
before Full Screen, I had a job for a company called Victorious.
Yeah.
Which
we,
made-
we had an app on Victorious.
Yeah.
So I was an engineer there.
Oh, wow.
Like, first of all, just for everyone listening that doesn't know what Victorious did, they did bespoke apps for influencers, but we had a platform where we could just like, you know, plug in a design and it would pump out the same app, basically. It was one code base.
And they were paid apps. Like it was paid membership
Yes,
apps, right?
yes, it
Some
was.
of them
Yeah,
were.
depending,
Some of them.
depending
Ours
if
was free,
the
but
creator
yeah.
was.
Lily Singh had one.
Yeah.
There was like huge creators on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I saw the numbers of those, like who was actually pushing download numbers and who was converting and into, you know, paid subscribers and stuff. So I definitely saw like how difficult it was.
Yeah. I mean, this is like a complete sidebar here, but like our app was like, I think the third most engaged app at Victorious. And then they just switched the like design of the app for everyone because it was
me.
that was you.
That was you.
I'm kidding. I don't know. It might have
And
been.
then we went from like, I think at that time we were like 50,000 daily actives to 3,000 immediately because everyone
Yeah.
was like, this new version sucks.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then they just hit us up one day and they were like, hey, we're shutting down the company. So your app's going to kind of go away.
Yeah.
Even for us, like they were before their time.
Definitely.
Victorious,
Yeah.
way before their time, but it informed us too. Like when we saw what was going on there, that audiences were willing to have this like custom environment that was for the creator, and they were willing to pay for things in that environment.
True. Yeah.
And that was eye opening for us
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, I think so. Working at Full Screen for me was different because I was hired as like they titled me as a web developer, but I was pretty much a catch-all for anything related to web marketing. I even got into like weird territory where I was cutting Snapchat ads for Full Screen, and then I'd go like program like build like some landing page for a show. So I was like this full service person specifically for the subscriber acquisition team. So I saw how they respectfully failed miserably at getting people to sign up for the platform.
and this, by the way, this is just to add some context. This is when Full Screen switched to their SVOD.
Yeah.
And basically
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
put all their chips in one basket and was like, this is the new direction of the company.
Yep.
It was like their own little version of
Subscriptions.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was like their own little version of Netflix or whatever, where they were
I
developing
remember that.
premium content in-house.
Yeah, so I got to see how many dollars they were pouring into at like getting users, what the cost per user was, where the content was failing. I even got insight into the data of the UX and how users interacted with certain layouts, and it's now helping inform what we do for our service now.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, I guess like one of the key insights would be like people were coming for Shane Dawson
they were.
and just watching his show.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah,
Right. I think like the idea was that, oh, they'd pay for a monthly membership and then, you know, that would kind of, they would bleed over into the other content and, you know, enjoy the platform. But I don't think it was really performing like that.
the disconnect that I felt they had was they didn't immediately recognize that people were only coming for the person that they liked or were looking to for entertainment. And they spent big dollars on content that no one asked for. You know, they hired the dude who wrote American Horror Story to do a whole series for them. And they spent so much money shooting that out. And I think, I want to say the total views on that overall might be like sub 5,000.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
That's crazy.
next to no one watched
It's a
it.
real like people follow people moment.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
You can't take these creators and turn it into like its own Disney channel or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
And by the way, like this is no shade on Full
No,
Screen.
no,
Like I think it was a
no.
valiant effort.
Definitely.
They poured a lot of money into making this happen, but it happened with Quibi too. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
the
for
lesson
sure.
is that like it's not just money. You can't just
No.
pour money into marketing
Yeah.
and make great stuff. It's like you also have to kind of nail the specific niche or figure out what's working and then build.
Yeah. I also remember going into Quibi's office when they were like talking to us about like their programming, and they were like, yeah, we got a series that's directed by Spielberg. And I was like, I'm not positive that the kids who are watching YouTube
Yeah.
care about that.
No, they
I don't
don't.
think that means anything,
No.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I think you throw a creator up there and just like talking, and that's more interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that was like that. All these are lessons in like the old guard being like, I think this is how it should work, right? They should care that it's Scorsese.
Yeah, what's crazy is I feel a lot of the old Hollywood doesn't realize that Nico Avocado pulls in more views probably than Nolan.
Yeah.
Like if you took all of Nolan's films and you stacked them up against Nico Avocado's year-long, like I bet you it's more.
Yeah. And what's weird is trying to like sit and explain what he does to someone.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's how he's performing better than Nolan. You know, that's always, I always find that weird for me when like I find myself with my high school friends explaining like, first of all, being like, yeah, I got this friend, Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
And he like made everyone put their hand on this Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And you've already lost them at Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
You know, once you've said that, they're like, nah, I'm
Yeah.
He's also like the new Willy Wonka.
And he bought this island.
He bought an island too.
Yeah. But he gave away the island.
What does he do?
Yeah.
Well,
And at that point, your friend's like, well, I'm happy that you like what
Whatever you're doing, man.
That's great for you.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Did you have any discomfort, Cody, or I guess both of you, like putting yourselves on the internet in a certain way, like almost in like a crass way, calling yourselves Tiny Meat Gang? Was there any of a thought of like, well, if we have to go back to getting a job, it might be harder now?
Well,
or was it really just like we're all in?
I think when we
it's
did all
gonna
that
work?
like cake farting stuff on OnlyFans, that like
that's when it was like that. Now you can't.
I think that made it kind of hard.
going back.
that solidified that we'll be farting on cakes forever.
Yeah.
I was never really that concerned about it because also like I was, you know, making videos while working at Victorious. Like I was, you know, we both, I guess, were making content on Vine, like throughout having full-time careers. Yeah. And like those weren't family friendly Vines, you know, like I was saying a lot of swear words and, you know, being crass or whatever. And at Victorious, like I would go on a one-on-one with my boss, like we would walk down the 3rd Street Promenade and people would come up to me and be like, oh my God, can I get a picture?
Oh, interesting.
And they thought it was awesome. They were like, oh, this is sick that we have an engineer that also makes content. Yeah. And so in my mind, I was kind of like, oh, this is an early sign that this is what the world's becoming, the professional world. Yeah. Everyone is going to be a creator eventually. And they are. Like, it's wild. Yeah. Like, I don't want to put her on blast, but our agent's assistant, like her TikTok came up on my feed the other day. And she makes great TikToks. But it just made me realize like everyone does this now. Like everyone makes videos about their life.
You can follow her. It's on the screen right now. Yeah. Check it out.
Yeah.
Let's blow her up.
New aspiring creator.
Hate me for that. She's like, why the fuck did you bring
And now
me
let's
up?
say it, Joel.
I mean, it's good.
It was great videos.
Joel sent you to like another city today. So like,
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. That was Google's fault. It wasn't Joel's fault. But Joel Park, she makes
some of the best
up and coming TikTok videos.
So when you get when the Patreon thing happens, you're surprised. You're like, whoa, like that. There's actually people who will pay for this.
Yeah.
Was it pretty immediate that you were like, all right, I'm out?
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I was fired at that point. So,
already done.
Yeah.
You can't fire me. I quit actually. Well, you're already fired. So
let go. Yeah.
What did it do for you guys though creatively? Like to see that you had that sort of financing behind it.
It was cool, but it was definitely scary, you know, because it, at least for me personally, and I assume Cody as well, but I don't think there's anything we ever took for granted. So since that day, I've perpetually been of the mindset that tomorrow all our subscribers could go to 0.
Right.
But it was a cool moment that I remember distinctly thinking like, it is the first proof that people really like us.
That's true.
And what we do.
Yeah.
Like if people are willing to like put their money where their mouth is and actually put up a credit card. Because in the beginning, it wasn't like we were offering anything that crazy. We weren't doing bonus content. It was a 1-week window between when the episode will come out for free.
Yeah.
So if you liked the podcast, you could just wait a week.
Yeah.
You know? So like that wasn't that crazy of a perk. And people still were like, they were just giving us money because they liked us and they wanted to see us do it full time.
Yeah.
Right. How did that inform, I guess, how you guys move forward? Was it like, okay, this is part of our business, Patreon, we need to keep growing that. Plus we, have AdSense, plus we need to get brand deals. Like, was it all at once or was it more of a focus on like, we got this relationship with the audience, we're going to grow and whatever?
I think it was more of that because then we started touring and it was really just a 3-year period of us, I think just growing closer with the listeners of the podcast. And then when the pandemic happened, that's actually when we started to kind of shift to think like, okay, what else can we do? I remember we were kind of kicking out ideas, and I said, oh, what if we did like a more expensive tier? And then we kind of like piloted show concepts, because people were saying, oh, it'd be cool if you guys like did kind of, you know, off episodes or like off series about like your interests, like, you know, whatever they are. Like people, I would talk about MMA a lot, and people would be like, stop talking about it. So then the niche group of people that wanted to hear about it, it was like, oh, okay, should there just be a separate upload for that? But then at that time, Cody and I felt that we didn't really have the infrastructure to do a network kind of thing, but that it was in our minds, definitely, I think as early as 2020. And then when we finally did like the big studio change, I think that's when we became a lot more serious about, oh, okay, let's make sure that the content's good so we can, you know, hire more people and we can kind of expand. And so I think really in the last year and a half is when we've gotten very dialed in about it being a business. But up until then, I think it's always just been what would be entertaining.
What was kind of the inflection point for you guys though once you started the podcast? Like you mentioned you were on tour. I was watching your guys behind the scenes tour videos.
Yeah.
And there's one episode where like you sell out a couple of venues and you end up having to get a much bigger venue in Chicago, and like 1,600 people are there.
Yeah.
In one part of it, like Post Malone is like in the green room with you guys. And like, what contributed to that, going from like, all right, we quit our jobs, we set up a podcast and a Patreon, to having that level of like
I don't know. It's weird because you really don't have that many moments of this like proof that we're talking about that people really like are fucking with what you're doing. And I mean, that was like a joke that we did on stage too. It was like, just, you know, because you see the numbers on That's Cringe and Love Island and stuff like that. And all it is a number on a screen, but to see the people actually sitting in a theater that like traveled, took an Uber to you, bought a ticket and all that stuff. So that was like, that first tour was a pretty wild realization that like people, you know, they really wanted to see us and supported us doing whatever that we wanted to do.
How do you think the podcast format has impacted that level of fan connection? Like if you guys had stuck with like maybe vlogs or even like That's Cringe and that was the format you went long on and never did a podcast, is it the same? Like, what's the intimacy of the podcast? How has that impacted?
I think
packing rooms.
Yeah, I think it's two things. I think the way we had done it, which I think a lot of people kind of, at least comedians will start their podcast this way, which is kind of lo-fi in terms of production. And it's just, you know, a couple people talking in a room. I think that, I think it creates a certain level of intimacy because I think people are just watching two people go through phases in life and go through experiences. So in that way, to me, it kind of borders on like a live stream because our podcasts were like never edited. And to this day, they're not really edited. Unless I get too carried away on something, but so I think in that way, the podcasting format, I think just naturally draws people closer to you because they're seeing you in an extremely unedited presentation.
Yeah.
And did you guys kind of have that understanding of maybe podcasts is where we're going to bring people closer to us, like have that crew, and then maybe That's Cringe or Love Island, that's where we find new people?
For us, at least at the beginning, it was like, what's nice about podcasting is it's like a consistent production schedule.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like with YouTube where we had to like wait for inspiration or to find like the perfect video to goof on or whatever, which is always like a weird, stressful thing. It's in the back of your mind. It's like, okay, what's the next one?
Yeah.
Whereas with a podcast, it was like, no, we go in the same day every week and we talk about, you know, whatever's going on.
Yeah.
And then it comes out a couple days later. It's much like, it's like easier on the mind as a creative, like to count on a production schedule like that.
Yeah.
I feel like for me too, with our podcast, like with the audio only versions of it, I feel like if I'm just present and I'm in a good mood, then it's like, that's what determines if it is good.
Yeah.
Like if we both show up ready to be there and excited to be there, which is, it's easy to do for a podcast. Whereas with a video, we sit down and record it in the back of your mind. You're like, was this even the right thing to choose?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. True.
Have I thought about the title enough? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Good point.
There's a lot of pressure on a YouTube upload right now, especially.
Yeah.
I think in this climate, and like the podcast audience, their expectation is like they're going to hang out with you guys, you know, and it's like so different from the expectation of someone clicking on a video right now when the video next to it is like, I exploded 10 bombs on an, you know, you're like, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna head over here and see this is way crazier than what you're doing. So yeah, it's
that is our next YouTube video.
right, right.
and we can't wait for that one.
I was actually talking to two guys. I got the big thanks to Waleed. He connected me with a couple of guys that he knows, and I finally got the cost on what it would take to blow up a car.
Really? Yeah, that's been his like pipe dream.
Are you looking for a car to
Are you
blow
looking for a
up?
car to blow up?
Do you have a car to blow up?
Yes.
We actually have a car to blow up, and we were weirdly having a conversation.
Yeah, we had that
yesterday.
conversation
We were like,
yesterday.
should we just give it to someone to blow up?
Let's make it happen.
Are you for real?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, no.
it's-
Is it
it's-
costly?
It's super costly.
How
what
much
if you
is
have
it?
the
Let's
car?
get it. Let's get it sponsored. You know.
The car is like the negligible part. Okay. Yeah, the car. I mean, if you want to blow it up, it's.
We have a
it's-
1992 Mercedes. It's
Got it.
white. Beautiful car. It doesn't
beautiful
run,
car. Yeah.
but we could get it to where
Yeah.
you need it.
Damn, I'd rather take the money and refurb it than.
Okay, all right.
That sounds like a sick car.
That's actually an
It's a
option
sick
too.
car. It's also an option. We're trying to
Yeah.
shake this car right now. So, we bought it on Doug DeMoro's Cars and Bids. He's like a YouTube, Cars and Bids.
Tell people about Doug DeMoro and how he's doing all that stuff.
Yeah, we do this series where we like review creators like businesses and their merchandise. And so we checked out Cars and Bids and we're like, let's buy a car. We bought a car and it showed up in like an hour.
Damn.
And it's a really dope car, but
And it ran so well when we first got it.
Yeah.
It was a dream. Like,
But when
And then
I went on my honeymoon and didn't start it, and then it's just been dead since. And like,
R.I.P.
yeah,
and like the
So now
interiors are
your
falling off, and
solution
like
is to blow it up.
yes, yeah.
It broke down one time, and you want to blow up the car.
Well, we were like, what
that
do we
is
do?
so LA. That is so LA. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I'm just gonna fucking blow it
I
up.
think it's specifically like LA YouTuber because he was like, "You think like Eric would want to blow it up?"
I literally turned to him. I was
yeah,
like,
maybe.
I was like, "You think Eric just want this car to blow it up?
so
Like,
funny.
maybe we just give it to him."
We could take it to the shop.
That's
No,
actually
let's fucking blow it up.
yeah. I mean, it's very LA YouTubers and the people of the Midwest have that in common. Just blowing shit up. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you come around to the idea,
If you're
just,
actually interested,
shoot us a note.
Yeah, I would love to know more about this.
And we would
car.
want to be there when you blow it up.
Of course,
Of
yeah.
course.
We're not just gonna
Absolutely.
deliver.
Not just gonna let
we're not gonna
someone
hire
blow it
someone to deliver the car. We'll deliver the car.
Yeah, almost deaf.
I was curious about how you guys identify or think of yourselves of like, is it podcasters, comedians, YouTubers? Like where do any of those terms
I
connect?
really like to use the term influencer.
Yeah, me too. That's what I
Okay.
call myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I do when I DM like different businesses. Like, I'm an influencer. Can you send me some of this?
Yes.
You know?
Exactly.
That's actually how I pitched myself for a 10-minute spot at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love that there, right?
Influencer and
I'm
aspiring
a
comedian.
decorated influencer, and I listed my all my experience with brands.
Right.
'Cause I'm like,
That's right.
I know comedy doesn't always make money, and I just want to show you that I've experienced making money.
I've worked with NordVPN,
Yeah, I can-
ExpressVPN,
Geek.
SurfVPN.
Yes,
Every
yes.
VPN.
All the VPNs love me.
I can bring VPN dollars to the
your
Comedy
institution.
Store
Yes.
if you just give me a chance. So
Yeah.
it's been working out great.
Right.
Yeah.
But do you guys connect with any of that? Like, is there one term that you're like, oh, I'm a YouTuber? Or do you think it's contextual? Like people look at you and
Yeah, I like when people refer to me as like hot or sexy,
Multi-hyphenate geniuses.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
extremely attractive, very tall. No,
I don't know.
I'll depending. It really depends.
Yeah.
Like if I'm talking to someone's like mom or like my neighbor, they'll say, "What do you do?" I'm like, "I'm a comedian."
Got it.
So I feel like conceptually, that's just
Yeah,
the
it's
easiest thing to
easier,
understand.
Yeah.
And then if it's someone a little bit younger, I'll say I kind of do a handful of things. I'll say, "Oh, I got a podcast. I do stand up," but I always hesitate to just blanket define. Sorry.
No, that was good. I like that. He's pissed.
I never know what to say to this day.
I always hesitate with YouTuber.
Yeah.
Like even last night, someone asked me, I said, I have a YouTube channel,
Yeah.
which is just something about me. It's not like a
Yeah.
career. And then I
Yeah.
have to go into a conversation. But for some reason, I can't say like YouTuber?
I think YouTuber implies like slime videos and you know, it's got like I think that's actually
used to for sure, but now I feel like it's more of like a real career now. Like people understand that that's not just making YouTube videos.
I think it's everyone under 35
that gets that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if
We're getting close to that cutoff.
Easy.
Easy with that second number.
I feel if you tell anyone over that I'm a YouTuber, they in their mind it's still
Makeup tutorials.
and like vlogging and like what's up guys, like they still think it's what's up guys, and it kind of is, but it's not.
It's less what's up guys though.
Yeah.
Fewer people what's up guys these days.
Yeah, definitely fewer. Or it's followed by something more absurd than it used to be. It's like, what's up guys? Today we're recreating Squid Games.
Sure.
Stuff like that.
Today I spent $5 million creating this set.
exactly.
Yeah, recreating a Netflix
Yeah.
global phenomenon.
Yeah.
So when did like the prospect, you spoke about it a bit, about this concept of testing formats and thinking about it as a network, but when did you guys actually say, hey, you know what? We got this thing going, but let's add more to it. Let's not just be podcasters, YouTubers, entertainers, comedians. Let's be like entrepreneurs and media executives, I would say.
So we hired
That's the term.
That's the
That's
term
what you want to be known as.
Media
executive.
executive.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm gonna start wearing a suit when I
goes
get on
hard
stage.
as hell, dude. I can't wait till the customs guy asks me what I do, because every time I come to the country, they go, "What do you do?" I'm a media executive.
What do you say now?
I make YouTube videos.
You make YouTube videos.
Media executive's hard.
That is.
Yeah, that goes crazy.
The next spot I do at a club, and they're like, "Oh, what credits do you want me to stop?" Just say media executive. Coming to the stage, he's a media executive. Noel Miller, and I'll just go up in there in a fucking suit.
Yeah.
So we're thinking of this show.
Yeah. What's up, guys? I used to work for Quibi.
Let me tell you why Quibi was actually good, and you guys are fucking morons, and you lost a good thing.
Not comedy at all.
Yeah. You're all fucking assholes. That's what I've learned. In my years of making billions, you're all idiots. Let me show you. We had a show with a woman with a golden hand. And you threw that away. For what? TikTok? Go fuck yourselves. Yeah, media executive is dope.
But it's kind of what you are, right? You got now, like, you're not just making decisions about what you're going to make. You have to make decisions on what talent to bring on, what shows to bring on, what shows are going to resonate with the audience. There's people paying now for this service that they want, you know, like content. You guys are curating that.
Why even make that jump from just being creators who already have a ton going on to media executives?
I think we always try to start with a place that was just like what feels good, which is not a super sharp thing to say, but a friend of ours, Ben Kahn, who's one of the hosts of the Trillionaire Mindset, him and his buddy Emil.
Trillionaire Mindset on Spotify and YouTube, and go
TMG
subscribe to them.
Studios.
Those guys are hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. They so
See, that's a media executive thing to do, to like say thank you when I said those guys are hilarious. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Took credit.
Yeah, thank you.
For their talent.
Yeah.
That's the media executive.
I made it.
Yeah.
It was my decision.
I created them.
Yeah. Finally, someone.
Those guys exist because of me.
Yeah, I literally made them. I taught Ben everything he knows. After his dad died, that's when I stepped in.
Okay.
You know?
Dark.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I'm not positive if that's true. So
It is now. No. We just talk about podcasting in general, and he would tell me a lot. I'm like, man, I really want to start one. I don't know what to do, and this and that. I really want to do something finance oriented. And then we were already talking about, well, what's kind of our first step into a network?
We've been talking about this for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And before, it just seemed like kind of like a pipe dream. It was like, this doesn't really seem realistic. But remember that we had a meeting with, our agency like 3 years ago.
Yeah, we did.
That big round table meeting. And that was one of the things we brought up, was like, we really want to start a network.
Yeah.
I think it's just, we both are aligned in that we want to build something that's just bigger than ourselves.
I think also the fun part about bringing people on and knowing what we know is Ben and Emil care way more about sort of like finance and world politics than we do. And we think it's just cool that we can create a place where, you know, people can kind of come to us for just like general humor. If people want to drill down into their niches, we can bit by bit offer people who actually really care about those things.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing, is that when people kind of dial into these shows, they're really gaining something from it, about something they care about.
Yeah.
It's also fun building a world and building a little universe.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like the people that we now, you know, sign and work with are like our friends, and they're also people that we're fans of. Like I've been close friends with Brooke and Connor for a while. I know that they're hilarious.
Yeah.
I've loved their TikToks for a long time. So it was really cool that, and Ben was one of my favorite TikToker or favorite Vine people of all time. So it's just cool that we can now, you know, bring those people in, produce stuff for them, but then also watch it and enjoy it as an audience member, and like be on shows with them, like 8 Ball Special, the show we do with Ben
That's
and
how
Emil.
I found them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was through 8 Ball Special.
Like that show is so much fun to be on.
Yeah.
Because we're like, I think Ben and Emil are some of the funniest people. So it's just cool being on a show with them and chatting with them. And I think the audience really resonates with that too. Like,
you guys operate as this top of funnel, right? Like you're this source of, for me, like as a fan of the show, you have so many different outlets where whether it's social or highlights, where I can like see things that are happening. And on social, I saw the moment I was telling you yesterday that where Ben talks about those foot pics he sent.
They asked me if I would be willing to sell photos of my feet.
Please tell me you didn't fucking do this.
I did.
That's a hilarious moment. And then I was like, well, what is this? And then that's my entrance into this world you guys have created with 8 Ball Special. And then I'm like, well, those guys are funny.
Yeah.
Let me see what they're all about. And then it's like this.
Even the other way around, like I was a fan of Connor early on in the pandemic because his TikToks were just so good and so funny. And then it was cool to see him become part of the network. And now I have an opportunity to watch and listen to him like long form and get clips. It's cool. It's cool to see like who you guys identify as people that you want to bring in.
Yeah.
And there's a stamp, right? That's like, you guys are going to bring in people that, if we're fans of you, that we find funny too.
Yeah.
We like the way they present things and present the world.
Yeah.
It's like a certain point of view. Yeah.
I think we want to keep it like that too, you know? Like we're at a point now where we can probably scale pretty quickly. Like our production pipeline is super well oiled. And that's like, you know, big thanks to Ryan for that. But, so we're at a point now where we can like produce a ton of shows.
Oh, you threw a shaka on the camera. That was great. That was great.
Don't do that anymore.
Yeah, you're fired. You're fired. Never do that again.
Think media executive Ryan.
But I think it's like, you know, it's an interesting challenge for us to keep it feeling bespoke, and like we're putting a lot of thought into what we produce and who we sign, because we do want it to feel like that. We want it to feel like a family, but like, you know, you can watch one show and immediately know that, you know, if it's vetted by us, that it's entertaining.
Did you look at any group for inspiration though? Because I feel like Creator Network is not that common. Like Rhett and Link do it, like Babish is starting to do it. But like 3 years ago when you're starting to talk about this, what was the inspiration that you could do something like this?
Yeah, I think we're both, you know, more entrepreneurial than we'd like to give ourselves credit for, at least than we used to give ourselves credit for.
Yeah.
But this has always been something that I think we wanted to do in the back of our mind. It's like, let's take what we've learned about doing this ourselves and, you know, try to see if we can build something bigger.
Yeah. I think that's what's interesting, is that this whole career is like still being defined. But the people who have been in it for, you know, you guys have been doing this for 7 years, you've had experiences that now when Connor and Brooke, you know, are in your network, you can kind of like mentor them in a way, right? Of like, hey, these are some of the mistakes we made. This is some of the adversity we faced, but we can carry you through that. I think for us, like, we've been on YouTube in different forms for 10 years. And I can't believe how slow some of the lessons are that we've had to learn, right? Like you look back and you're like, oh man, like I wish I just knew that. And the people who are starting today, they're getting advice from people and they're jumping 10 years ahead. Is that like a big part of it? Like if you join the network, getting to interface with you guys?
I think we could probably do a better job at like mentoring, but no, but I think there is like, we definitely do apply our learnings to
the network as a whole.
network and the shows that we produce. Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, where they start off when we start producing their shows is, you know, already light years ahead of where we started when we started. Like it took us 2 years to get our first ad read.
Right.
You know? Whereas like their shows are monetizing right out the gate.
Yeah.
And they're they get traction right out of the gate.
For two guys with like a loose idea, what do you do next? Like what was your path to saying like, let's go from a loose idea to actually making TMG Studios?
So I think it started with building out a production team that could kind of well-oil or create a machine for our specific show. So our show was kind of, we always relate things to code. If you look at that as like the code base, and then how can we replicate this over many shows? So we first built up a team that was more or less working for what we were doing. And then we actually brought in Ryan, and Ryan can oversee the repetition of the system that we've created for our show to be done multiple times over. So it all kind of it went kind of hand in hand at first, but in terms of concrete steps, it started with what do we need for our show to free up our mental resources to build the rest of the infrastructure to do this many times over. So
what are some of the new challenges with TMG Studios versus just when it was TMG? Like how does your day-to-day impacted, or even your mental space impacted from like okay, now we have a whole set of new,
well, we have to figure out really clever ways to ignore Ryan. That's the first step.
So now you got a guy who's like,
there's like an elephant in the room, as we asked.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. Yeah, it's him putting meetings on our calendar and then us canceling them.
Right. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah. RSVPing no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is different. You have like someone here who's trying to build this business, and
no, it is. It definitely is. It definitely the mindset now is not, all right, this is two guys making a show. How can we get this up every week and whatever? It's like, okay, we have 10 people on payroll. Mm-hmm. How do we make sure that the business is generating revenue and that we can scale it year over year? And so that there's proof that this thing is growing and, moving in the direction that we want it to move. So it definitely is, much more of a business now than it used to be, where it used to just be about our show. It still is about, we're not ignoring our show or our production or anything, but, a lot of the work outside of the production of TMG is figuring out how to make the network successful.
Can you tell us about like the roles that TMG Studio has? Like, Ryan obviously is here. Like, what does Ryan do, and what
exactly does Ryan do?
What's this? Why is he here?
What does Ryan do?
That's a great question. He's a media executive.
The reason I ask though is because I feel like we see all these creators launch so many different things. Yeah. And it's easy to be like, wow, they can do everything.
Yeah, I think, this kind of ties into Samir's question about like day-to-day and like day-to-day headspace. So I think, so as far as the team, Ryan's our executive producer, and then he oversees just a handful of different producers at different levels. Now we're at the point where we have like production interns. It's pretty cool because just last week we shot something for upcoming like Moment House show, and it was really cool to bring someone in who doesn't really have a ton of production experience, and this was a way we could like mentor someone where we can actually give them a unique production experience, and because we're not like some union show, we can light them on fire. No, they can have a very direct, like hands-on experience where we can say like, go dump the memory from that, dump the card from that camera, and also can you move this prop over here, and can you slate this? And they get to interact with a lot of small things. But so I think Ryan's our executive producer. How many producers do we have now? We have 3 core producers. Yeah, we have 3 core producers that report into him. We have our studio manager who is in charge of all the gear, and that's getting crazy because now we've got like another B studio that we're setting up with different sets, and so our studio manager is pretty tied down with that. Then our production interns kind of just float between things. Then we have our editing team, and they do most of our editing. Some of it we outsource, and I think that's the other part that kind of gets overlooked too. Like when creators start things, is we have our core team, but then we do have a ton of like extensions of small agencies that we use, or just random freelancers that we pull into projects. So the web gets very expansive very quickly.
Also, one thing I want to make a note doing is like whenever I'm listening to somebody's story and you know, and how they built their business or whatever, I always appreciate like the honesty in terms of how they didn't know what they were doing and what to hire for and everything. And they kind of figured it out as they went. I think that's, you know, something that we've experienced as well is in the beginning, like when we first hired Kyle, that was our very first employee. And that was literally just like, okay, can you handle the editing and whatever? It's like too much for us to do now. Yeah. And then Luke was next and it was like, it's because we needed more, you know, production help.
We had Nate as well.
Nate to edit. And, you know, if you just take little steps in solving what problems are directly in front of you, but then just keep that, you know, like that zoomed out vision of where you want to get to, I think that's the most important thing. And that's what we did. We never really, it wasn't a master plan where we at the very beginning of this sat down and we're like, okay, we want this crazy one-day production pipeline where we use the same servers that Netflix has in their offices and we're dumping footage on there. And then all of our editors are editing from home, remote wired into their computers in the studio, which is what it is now.
Thanks to Ryan.
Thanks to Ryan. This is something that we, you know, developed because we eventually were able to hire the right people because we just kept making little you know, steps towards that main goal of building a network and having this well-oiled machine.
I also think if you're building something and you're bringing people on, I think it's good to caveat to those people, hey, I'm bringing you on to do this, but that definitely can change. Yeah. And I think that's something that people overlook is when you're, I think, building a business, you have specific needs in the moment, but I think you have to be open to the fact that you may not know what you need actually, which is a weird meta thing.
Well, I think also as creators, we live in a world of like experimentation. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Where it's like, try this, it works for some time. Totally. Now there's something different. Yeah. Actually, this works better, or take some part of this and do it over there.
I mean, you guys' personal channels are like that right now. Like you look at the last 2 to 3 videos of each of you guys and there's like new formats that we haven't seen before and you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah. I mean, we've been kind of doing that like throughout our whole careers. It's like, that's how we first started doing, you know, that's Cringe and Love Island stuff is that just started with a text. I was like, hey, we should try this. This will be cool. Like he found a video of a blowjob robot. Yeah. And that was the very first thing that we reacted to. And it was literally just like, hey man, we should sit down. And I was like, both of us were kind of like, is this going to be weird? Yeah. And it was.
It's super weird. Yeah.
But then, you know, look
things
what
got weirder.
So, yeah, exactly.
Was that like, was that surprising when that series, That's Cringe, just kind of like,
it's so crazy because I don't even think we ever viewed it as like a series.
Yeah. It's only retrospective that people talk about.
It's funny to see like Sean Evans say like the hit series, That's Cringe. Like, you know, you're like, oh, cool. Like, it's cool though that people are starting to group things like that together. It helps that you stopped though. Because once you stop, then people can really package it. Yeah. You know, if it's still ongoing, it can just feel like it's just videos.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I am kind of proud of the fact that we like stopped doing it.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it is this nice little package thing now. It's like it's a set of like 12 videos. I don't even know how many episodes we did.
No, it's a lot, man. It's like 17 or like
okay, but still like
in aggregate, those probably also have over what 150 million views together.
Way more than that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
What's the official number? I think like a couple of them have over 100 mil at this point.
No, I think the biggest one is 30.
30 mil?
Yeah.
No.
What's the biggest one?
I think it's the morning routine one.
I thought it was over.
Yeah. I still, again, like the Mark McGrath one for me is, I'll probably attribute to 100,000 of those views.
Yeah, morning routine has 31 million. The U one has 23.
Oh, so maybe it's not.
Or Jake Paul 25. Yeah, so it's probably like 150 million in total.
I mean, that's really crazy.
Yeah.
In that experimentation, like you guys mentioned, like stopping That's Cringe. Like, how did you? Was that conscious of like, oh, we're going to try this and we're going to stop this, but like stopping that specifically, such a successful series. Like today, you would think that if someone was making YouTube videos, it'd be like, find the thing that works and.
Any media executive would order.
Keep doing that.
That's true.
Yeah.
We, as media executives, that's actually what TMG stands for, the media executive guys. I think at least me, you can tell by my YouTube channel, I'm so guilty of self-sabotage, you know? I find something that works and then I immediately fuck myself over and do something that no one wants to see. So I personally get bored of things very quickly. And so That's Cringe was working for us, but I remember telling Cody, I'm like, we can't just be two guys talking at a computer. We have to move on from this. And Cody was like, yeah, no, I can see that.
I can talk at a computer for a long time, man.
No, but I just meant, no, but I just meant like as the two of us, I felt like That's Cringe did so well that staying too long in it would have just, I don't know. I thought that would have started to work against us at some point.
Yeah.
It was also kind of natural. It was like we were really focused on other things. I think we both like trying new things and pushing ourselves and learning especially. So like at that point, the last ones came out like when we were on tour. Yeah. So we were really focused on the live show and, you know, going show by show, tweaking it, depending on what the audience laughed at, what it didn't. You know, that was taking up a lot of our mental real estate. So
was music starting to play a bigger role during that time?
It was, yeah. And so music continued to kind of be a factor. And then the pandemic hit. And then I think that's when the pandemic hit out, naturally everyone like you know, they kind of thought about things more in like what does the future look like? And I think that was an easy moment for us to be like, well, probably not going to be like rapping about dicks for very long. So like maybe we should, you know, try some other things that present more of a challenge and something we can like really care about, really sink our teeth into. Yeah.
With your music, like I was talking to Cody about this, like some of the streams on Spotify of your guys' music are crazy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Walkman is almost gold.
Yeah, it's like 86 or 90 million streams. And like Broke Bitch, it's like 45 or 47 million. And I also put on that song when I was doing some research for this podcast, right? And I've heard that song. Yeah. But I put it on and I was like, how serious were you when you were making this song? Were you kind of like, did you, because that's like a good song.
Because it seems like over time, like the emphasis on like the comedy being the main character started to maybe like, not that it went down, but like the quality of the music started
It was almost like you guys were flexing in this way of like, no, we could, like if we want, almost like teasing,
it was almost
like,
awkward for everyone watching because everyone was like, this is just good music.
Like if you actually wanted to do this, you could just do this.
That's what we were going for. Awkward song. We really wanted an awkwardly
good song.
Well, next to all of the other music that comedians or just even YouTubers put on YouTube, it wasn't even the same category.
Besides Josh Richards though,
that's true.
I think it's funny because when some people break down the music, it's really interesting to see what their interpretations of it are. Like even hearing what you guys have to say is really interesting because I guess the general theme here is that the things that we made, we never had these really deep thoughts about it. It's funny when I'll go on the road and even to this day, you know, I've had people ask like, what was your process like making music? And I'm like, it's very complicated. Someone makes a beat and then me and Cody look at each other and say, do you want to go first? And then one of us records and then the other one goes, yeah, that works. And then the other one records and then we're like, yeah, sick. And, you know, a lot of it is supported by the producers that we know. Just between like Spock and Diamond Pistols, they're always the ones to really make the music like do something. So yeah, I do feel that it got to a point where it was getting just like a little too far away from comedy, and I'm like, maybe it's a little too horny now.
Too horny.
I think for me, like Broke Bitch was the moment where I was like, this is a little too good. Like this song, I can casually listen to and be like, I like this song. Yeah. And that's when it was like, I felt like there was an inflection point of like, are these guys just going to become like a music? Just gonna make good music?
No, because there's the music industry is the worst industry to be a part of.
Let's dig into that.
So
Like I want to hear about it because
this is also actually interesting because
you were bringing up Joji right the other day. There are roadmaps where it's like, oh, okay, someone can be like a comedian, have funny videos on YouTube, and then go into music.
Oh,
and they can
Jack
be successful.
Black, like Tim Heidecker does music now. A lot of people do it for sure, but I think what's interesting is the business side and the money side of music. Like a lot of people hear that, you know, working with labels isn't like the best experience or whatever. But when we were independent, like, you know, and then it wasn't even a conscious decision. It was just like, okay, we're putting out music. Let's just do it on our own because we have a marketing platform built in. We can just make a video on YouTube. And like, we were making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like from streams.
Yeah, we're making a good chunk.
You know, I won't put a number on it, but like, it was good. Like for an independent, you know, for
artist
people,
project.
an artist project. Yeah. Like it generated a significant amount of income. And then we signed with a label and we made zero money. But I mean, like that's no shade to the label or anything. Like I think
It's just how the
That's
industry
just how it
works.
works.
that's how it works. Yeah.
Why
I
did
think
you
it
go from
makes
making money to
sense
making
for
no
people that don't have that platform that we had worked so long to build
Right.
already. We did it as kind of like a legitimacy thing. It was like
Yeah.
we signed with a label and, you know, then we're on the same label that was,
Mike Posner.
yeah, exactly. And,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
Arista goes way back.
yeah, they're like a,
Yeah.
you know, famous name.
So it was legitimacy, but also you get an advance. Was that
we
part
got an
of it? Or
advance,
how-
but no.
Could you explain like why does the money go down so significantly?
Yeah. It's theft. No. The contract that they make you sign has a lot of built-in things that you discover along the way.
Got it.
Mostly it's recoupment. That's
Yeah.
That's what really fucks you is that, you know, they give you this advance and it's money
Which
to
they also-
fund your album, right?
Yeah.
They also take
Or
a long
whatever.
time to give you that as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't want to talk too much shit
Yeah,
about
Yeah,
all right.
that's
Yeah,
all right.
that's
That's
fine.
fair.
Noel
Because,
does though.
like,
So
I
Noel.
like Matt and I like,
Yeah, no,
you know,
I
I like
mean-
everyone that works at the label. Like they were all really great and had the best intentions. I think and like I said, it works for other people.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think for us, like we've always been so independent. We've always done everything by ourselves.
Yeah.
That relationship just didn't really work as well for us.
And it's also like the industry was changing so much. Like I don't know if the record label would think like the way you guys did that SeatGeek integration in one of your music videos.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
But we did that because otherwise that money would have came out of our recoupment. So
Yeah.
like
But
they pay you a certain amount of money and then to like fund your album or whatever, but then you only receive royalty money after you've paid that back.
Right.
And then all the marketing fees on top of that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they allot a certain amount of money towards music videos or whatever, but the rest you have to pay that back. So
Right.
you end up paying for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The label basically takes no risk, which is how it's traditionally been.
Yeah. Fun fact about Broke Bitch. So it was a crazy like sequence of events because basically we needed to finance it. So I pitched like, okay, what if we do this ad at the end and we can kind of tie it into a story? Like, oh, great. Simultaneously, I don't know if I think I can say this. I pitched Key from Key and Peele directly to be like in the music video. Like I had a phone call with him, and he was down. But then because we had the ad in it, it created like red tape because he was committed to other things. Which, yeah. So it was like a very surreal thing to be talking to Key and just hearing his voice and just being like, okay, yeah, I like this, and I'm like, whoa, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
And then, you know, unfortunately it didn't pan out, but you know, we still had a good video. But yeah, that whole
And then we
experience was
almost had Courtney Cox in the video for Daddy.
Really?
Yes. We've almost had a lot of great cameos. Never quite pulled through.
Right.
Yeah,
For the music videos at least.
Yeah.
For the podcast, I mean, we've had some pretty great guests.
Yeah, I pitched John Cena for Daddy. Didn't hear back from his agents,
Right.
but
Yeah. I was curious about that, like experimentation, and when it comes to, I guess, early days, making a decision to try something and stop it, and how maybe have those stakes increased now that you have TMG Studios, or just like the stuff you guys have built. Like experimentation gets harder when you have overhead, right? And you have payroll and people, or like a mortgage, and you're like, well, I could experiment, or I can just do the thing that works.
I think we tend to do it on our individual channels.
Yeah.
We are working on some stuff though. Like,
but I guess like it's a 2-part answer. So we are working on stuff between us, but because now we have to factor in the network and how that plays out, like it's a much harder thing to pull the trigger on.
Yeah.
We definitely have to have deeper conversations about, okay, how does this impact the money? We also don't want to do anything that impacts our ability to support the other shows that we have. We want to make sure they're taken care of. So there's that aspect of it. And then, so I think it's easier sometimes when we individually are like, I wonder if this will work, and we can try like some version of it, and then we can almost like proof of concept some idea, and then we can bring that to the network as well. So I think we have 2 avenues for that still.
Got it.
I was just gonna say, I think we're also pretty good at like taking calculated risks.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, like that's like just, you know, starting on Patreon is a good example. Like that allowed us to, you know, fund the podcast in the beginning and then get a studio and make those, you know, take risks with our content and stuff like that and try different things because we knew we had a little bit of a safety net in terms of, and we're good at doing that now. It's like, we're never going to stop, you know, the main moneymaker is the podcast, but as long as that's going, then we can mess around with Cody Noel dues and try Moment House shows and like really try to develop new formats.
Yeah.
Do you guys talk about, or do you have to talk about like how you're going to experiment personally? Are you always aware of that just in case you're like, you know what, actually that would be good if we do it on TMG?
Yeah, not really. Cause I don't feel anything is really sacred anymore unless you know, start some extremely unique series to yourself. But I think if you're just throwing out general premises, I think it doesn't matter because I did like this entire game show that no one gave a shit about, and it's fine because we just repurposed a lot of
I thought that was funny.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I remember that. That was great. It was like well produced.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in doing that, it was dope because I learned so much, and then I was able to just say, oh, we could repurpose this aspect for like a Cody Noel do, or oh, let's do this concept, and I know it'll work because we worked on these things peripherally, and we can adapt it into that. So when it comes to like the stuff we do together, it's always going to be unique because it's just us two. Yeah, you know, even if Cody does some video concept by himself, if he does it with me, it's automatically different. So I don't think that anything is like super off limits, or it's never a situation of like, you fucked it. If we just did it together instead of by yourself, it would have worked better. It doesn't matter.
Was there ever a point working together where you guys felt like your identity was so wrapped up in the two of you working together?
It's too late for that.
It's too late. Like, did you make, because like, I feel like for us, it's that way 100%. It's not too late. Like our brand is not, it's our names specifically, you know?
We definitely, I think we're at that point to a certain extent where certain people only know the stuff that we do together. And, forever we'll get comments on our individual channels that's like, where's the other guy? We'll always like compare us and all that shit. But like, we're also like pretty careful in maintaining our own individual stuff because it's like a sanity thing. It's like, we're both creatives. So like, if we don't have a medium outside of TMG to experiment and work on our own stuff, I think we'd both go insane.
Yeah, because I think that's a weird thing that people don't, I think, really see, is that when you do a lot of work with like a creative partner, like every aspect of the business, if it's doing well, starts to squeeze you two together into everything. Like, then before you know it, like every brand wants you to only work together and everyone's only pitching you to work together. And you go insane because you have to have your own sense of self. Like that is super crucial. I mean, that's just like a basic thing in life. You need time to yourself, and I think the same holds true for your work. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it comes across with you guys too, which I really respect and think like Noel, you're short film.
Oh, thanks, man.
Like flipping that on YouTube, and you're just like, whoa, this is just a creative expression. That's
it's interesting. Like you say you openly like sabotage yourself on YouTube in a potentially YouTube algorithmic sense. Yeah. But from an artistic perspective, it's really enjoyable to watch your channel and see a new format that's comedic and then a music video for a new song. Like it actually is. I think it is interesting whether the platform rewards it or not.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Yeah. Confirmed. I can confirm that too. Yeah. But we're terrified of experimentation.
Yeah. We appreciate it.
So I would say like we are, it's like a scary thing to experiment. Yeah. Because especially when you build a business around something that it's like working.
Yeah.
And I was curious, Cody, you talked about that a bit mainly around like some of the challenges of creating YouTube videos and maybe feeling uninspired or not as inspired to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in your mouth here, but
It was on your
something
second
this.
channel. You were like responding
or
to
one of your streams.
Are you saying my videos are uninspired? Is that what you're saying? No, it's definitely something that I've been feeling lately. I think like we both go through those
Definitely
zones where it's just like this whole world is up and down, you know, and there's some moments where it's just like, fuck, everything I do feels dry. It feels like it doesn't have soul or purpose. And I think I'm a big fan of like momentum, and when it feels like something's working, that really excites me. Like that I like it, but also other people like it. And, you know, for a while I just like wasn't finding that. And that's those moments where you have to sit back and just reevaluate and be like, well, it's just because I'm doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Right.
It's like,
but that's also what YouTube, like you're expecting a different emotional result, but like
but as an audience member, it's like I can only watch someone do one thing for so long, and that's like 4 years. You know, that's the period where it's like, okay, if this guy doesn't grow or evolve to the next thing or find something else, like I'm gonna fizzle out as an audience member. Which you see happen all the time, and I think that's one of the reasons why we've been able to like, you know, survive this long in this industry is because we keep trying new things and we keep evolving and learning and trying to better ourselves as, you know, creators.
How much of what's happening on YouTube at large affects the decisions you guys make, like in your personal content on TMG? We were talking yesterday again about it's hard when you look at YouTube and someone who's brand new will upload a video that's like, I traveled to every country in the world, and that's their first video.
We
like,
definitely
that's the
talk
bar.
about it.
Yeah.
We talk about it a lot because like we're having these conversations, like I said, amongst ourselves about, you know, new formats for TMG and experimentation, and then we're like, what the fuck do we do? Because all of a sudden I see this video from this kid, and it's like, I went to every Gordon Ramsay restaurant in the world. This is like his 4th YouTube video ever. He must have spent 50 grand on it, and then he edits it down to like 4 minutes. Like, how the fuck are we supposed to compete with that when that's the new bar of success on YouTube?
Well, blow up our car, man. You know?
We have an answer.
We gave you an answer, man. We're workshopping this problem.
He's like, dude, fuck everything. Let's blow up a car. No one's done that.
That's what we've been saying too.
Let's do it.
No, I think, well, Cody and I have talked about this before on our podcast, but the way I've kind of boiled it down, which I think is really funny, is everyone is speed running their YouTube career. So they're doing these really intense concepts right away. And you can only visit so many restaurants all over the world so many times before.
Rainforest Cafe.
Shout out Eddie. Shout out Eddie. No, that's fine. But I do think there is something to be said about how the algorithm is motivating absurdity. You know, now before it used to be like, look at this goofy movie that I saw. Now it's like, I watched every movie from this director. You know, now you know,
and the thumbnail is like someone's eyes being open with metal.
And I don't think it's necessarily, sorry to interrupt, but I don't think it's necessarily the algorithm's fault.
Is that, no,
it's just
not.
Because there's so much shit that's
people
what
have
people
seen
are
everything
like,
now.
oh wow, this is something new.
Yeah, people have seen everything. So that's where, I think it comes down to doing crazy shit. Like, that's really all that's left. Like, some of the ideas I've come up with for us, the two of them are like, oh, how the fuck do we pay for that? I'm like, if we find a way. You know? Because it's really funny. I just have to say, guys, I said blow up a car. I didn't even say it. Cody said it twice now.
Right.
And the way they smiled, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
And again, like, this is serendipitous that we have a car for you.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I think we manifested this moment.
I think this has been leading up to this moment.
I think the biggest key to our career is actually this book called The Secret. I don't know if you've heard of it. We just manifested being a media executive.
Right.
That's all we did.
But you know what? One genre that feels like it's still kind of holding strong, or like a lot of it has been, like, it's not as crazy, is the commentary genre, or like the react genre. Guys like Drew Gooden or Jarvis Johnson, like there's something, especially with Drew, it's like for me, I find it so enjoyable to just sit and listen to his like kind of intellectual analysis of something.
But even his videos have gotten a little bit crazier. Like when he's buying every ad on Instagram and waiting a month to film.
That's true.
Like that's a you know, it's not a simple idea.
Yeah, compared to sitting at a computer and reacting to something.
Yeah, it's not lightweight. It's like you can tell how much effort he put into that and money too. Like he's buying these things.
You know
what
for the Ninja? Did you watch that Ninja?
Yeah. No, yeah, I would say they also are getting kind of pushed into absurdity unintentionally. I just think everything on YouTube is going that direction. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see where things go. Even with TikTok, I think it's funny that there's this youth that's speed running all of the
especially with TikTok.
All the styles of content.
Yeah.
You know, that to me is the same as like when Neo laid back and like they like plugged in the chip in his head and they're like, and he goes, now I know Kung Fu. Yeah. That's what these kids are doing. Like they're laying down at night, like watching TikTok and then just rolling their eyes in their head. They're getting like decades of sketch comedy injected in their brain over 12 months.
Yeah.
And then
plus like vlogging, plus
everything.
Everything.
Food tutorials, like everything. They are getting way too much internet in such a short period of time. So I'm always curious to see where these people net out in like 2 or 3 years.
I always wonder just what it will do to society when like you're in high school and you've consumed so much about like entrepreneurialism, about going to college. Like, how do you even go to college when you feel like you've lived it all? Yeah. Like you've seen everything.
Yeah.
It's like
DMT. That's all that's left. Seriously. I don't know. I think it's a weird future that we're about to live in.
I think even your guys' videos are like, obviously they've progressed significantly from you guys sitting and watching stuff. Like the edits are complex, the concepts are complex. You're like the out of touch concept is really funny.
Yeah, you're next for that, by the way.
That was a really funny concept.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah,
I like that one.
That's a really good, because we get to play along too, right? Like I got to play along with you. That was really fun.
Oh, thanks, man.
Your edits are incredibly complex. Like the way you're.
Did you watch the ukulele video that I did?
Yes.
Okay, so that was like my first like venture into this world of like, okay, I'm gonna try an idea that's bigger than just me sitting at a desk. Like I gotta like set a goal and try something, but I don't want to spend $20,000 on it. So yeah, we're definitely
no, dude. Spending $20K for 100,000 views, feels awesome. You should do it sometime.
It's really fulfilling.
It's really rewarding.
It's rewarding, yeah.
And then to have someone comment, "LOL, look at this guy fucking complaining." How hard is it? This guy acts like it costs so much.
Exactly. Love that.
Continue. Sorry.
The best is also when YouTube like doubles down on it. They give you a 10 out of 10, and then there's like a line of copy that's like, your viewers have no interest in this. You should try
regular viewers.
They just they squeeze lemon on the wound.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, thanks,
gray.
dick.
Yeah. Have you considered being more interesting?
Yeah. Or maybe quit. I don't think YouTube's for you, actually.
Yeah.
It's like 5 10 out of 10s like in a row, dude.
At like 3 10 out of 10s, they should have like a resume builder that pops up. It's fill one of these out and try and maybe get a job.
We dug up your old LinkedIn profile and we scouted some careers that might
Maybe you should do a video where you look for new jobs.
Yeah.
Do you think that, like back to TMG Studios, like podcasting as a format for you guys investing in like, not suggesting building like a network of YouTube creators, but building a network of podcasts and podcasters, has that held a little, is that held a little bit more sacred than like the pace at which things are moving on YouTube and in social versus like Joe Rogan's been podcasting for how many years? Like, is it a more stable creative environment that audiences are like, this is a podcast?
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
Yeah, I think this is something that, again, like we weren't super intentional about in the beginning. It was like a podcast is working for us.
Got it.
It's really lucrative. So it would make sense for the first thing that the people do that we sign is to do a podcast because we know the world so well.
Yeah.
We already have these relationships where we can monetize it. So this makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But now we're in this interesting place where it's like, you know, we're really good at making video podcasts.
Yeah.
It is somewhere where it feels like YouTube is moving more in that direction. Like you just see these hour-long live streams from people where it's just a full-on show. It seems like more and more of those are coming out and people enjoy watching those. Longer form video, just unscripted. But now we're in an interesting place where like, if that's the first move that we make and they're building an audience on their own, then they can start to do kind of whatever, like more short form YouTube videos. you know, sketches if they want, and we'll produce them.
Yeah.
So I think like that's kind of an interesting future that we're sort of looking towards is yeah, we're signing podcasters, but we're really signing creatives who really believe in, and then just giving them a platform to do whatever they want outside of a podcast, you know?
Are you guys open to talking about like the terms of a deal when you bring a new creator in? I always think it's interesting when like creators build a network because they have the perspective of what it would be like if they went in themselves.
I
or
mean,
at least things that are important.
It's tough to go into like a super niche detail. The thing is, we actually kind of extrapolate parts of that to other people because we want to maintain the creative relationship with the people there. So we, some of those conversations we do leave between like their people and our people kind of thing. I think the only thing we try to do is, we do have aspects of the contracts that, or the agreements that we help build. And we're really keen on just making people happy. Because we've been on the other end where people offer us some piece of shit deal, and we're like, it's like, fuck you, man. Like, you don't even respect like what, like me as a person building up what I've built and then bringing it to you. You know, I'm not bringing it to you for you to just fucking cannibalize it and like ruin me. So yeah, that's kind of been our motivation with like trying to, you know, build sets and create like a visual aspect that feels very, you know, like, oh, when you come here to do your show, we care, and there's going to be energy put into that.
I think that's like the most important part of this next chapter of networks and media companies is that you guys have spent years and are continuing to spend years making the stuff. Like, it's highly unlikely that some of these media executives at Quibi made short form content.
No.
So like even like executives at YouTube, they don't make YouTube videos. Right. So a lot of people who like when they were making decisions on YouTube originals, like
they're just kind of,
they didn't know what works on YouTube because they never felt what it's like to film themselves and put it out. Like they don't know that experience. And so I think that the empathy from a creative, like for me, if we're going to sign with anyone, like I want it, like when we got to sit down with Rhett and Link, you hear from them and you're like, oh, you know what this is like. You know way more what this is like than we know. You know, like you've done this. And I think that's a lot of the value when you look at young creators looking at TMG. It's like, well, they know what I feel like. They know what it's like to press upload or to, you know,
there's that. Make something. And like, we also are really, really keen on, because, you know, it's not to shade anybody, but we see other podcast networks and their whole racket, which is get as many people in here and pump them all through the same studio and let's see what sticks. And I just think that's such a diss to the people who have built up what they've built, and you're just forcing them to, you know, create this thing that you love in this extremely sanitized vanilla space that you can't affect your own. No, this is great.
Oh, okay, all right.
This is great.
Like, no, kind of vanilla in here.
No, this is like,
I know there's not enough on the walls.
No. I mean it more like just sticking creators like onto like a table or like two chairs with a television. And like, just throw your logo up there. It's fine. You know, I think we...
Like it's an assembly line. It's like, all right, next one in.
I like that you called it a racket.
They lease one
I haven't
space.
heard that term in a long time.
Racket.
Maybe since like
that's
a
a
gangster
term.
movie from
That's
the
my
40s.
favorite new word.
I love the idea of
racket.
podcast network racket.
It's
Damn podcast.
Everybody's a racket. So I think, I mean, I tend to be very jaded about things.
So when you zoom out, like you mentioned that, you know, some of your day-to-day and the problems you're facing, you're trying to solve the problem in front of you, but trying to have that zoomed out vision on where you're headed. What is that? Like, what is the zoomed out vision on where TMG Studios is headed?
I think ultimately it's tough to say because we're still experimenting, but I think the ideal goal is that we have a roster of people that are just providing like really good entertainment, and the money that people are paying, they feel the exchange is worth. And I think,
and we want to enable them to like, you know, reach their full potential.
And do more. Like, we can bring people on as podcasters, but if out of that they say, hey, you know, is it possible to get some funding for this type of content? Or, you know, we want to try these different avenues. We want to be in a position where we can greenlight stuff like that and just build like a nice ecosystem of just, you know, just creative people.
I think that's even like 1 to 2 years. You know, I think on our way to doing that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I think 5 to 10 years is like, it would be really cool for us to be running, you know, a bigger scale media company where we're, you know, buying the rights to movies and making those. And, you know, it's not just podcasts. I think podcasts are a really great starting point. And I think we're going to take that really seriously for as long as we can. But I would love to scale outside of that niche and, you know, it would be cool to run like a full scale media company.
Does that align with you guys creatively too? Like as TMG, movies, things like that? Like going past, like obviously there's been music,
we're
there's
working
been
on some
tours.
stuff right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's
That's in that same vein. So
That's really cool. Yeah, because I was curious about like, okay, you bring on another show, like you guys are working really well as like you've built this model where you have a Patreon, but you guys actually like custom built this site. And when it launched, to be honest, I was like taken aback by it.
Well,
it's like
shout out Fourth Wall.
Fourth Wall.
Yeah, that was the company
those guys
that did
are
it for us.
really
But yeah, they're
impressive. Yeah,
I mean they're amazing. Like when they reached out, you know, immediately the relationship right off the bat was just like, I don't know, they were like just so generous.
Yeah,
like they're like, hey, we, you know, and again, it was like a creator first sort of mindset where he was like, I know, you know, what you're looking for and we will build this site for you. You know, all you need to do is try to convert some people. And we were like, absolutely, we'll do that. Because like, it makes sense. Like it would just align with our vision. Like we wanted to end up in a place where we had multiple shows on one platform.
Yeah.
We could have done that on Patreon, but you know, it wouldn't have been branded.
Yeah. I think that's the main thing.
It makes it harder to
That's the
like
main
get down
thing.
in the weeds and create features that TMG Studios.tv listeners really want.
And
For
also
me,
a
the
brand
best part about
environment.
your new site is that you don't know Fourth Wall was involved. Like that to me as a fan of you guys, I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm in my own space with you guys.
And to
branded
be
space.
fair, they pretty much are, because Fourth Wall is just kind of supplying like a code base, but like at the end of the day, we have so much control over like, hey, can we add this feature? And hey, can we enable this for people when they comment? And it's a very, you know, it's a great relationship because we get to give them good ideas. They get to give us good ideas. So in that way, I'm sure what we're developing for us isn't one-to-one with other people. And so it does end up feeling like this very personalized experience, which is really dope.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Is the
And that was tmgstudios.tv is the URL, by the way, if you want to check
What
it
was that?
out.
What was that TikTok?
That was Joel Park.
Okay.
That gets me every time.
is the immediate like next step for TMG more shows, or is it like more creative with the current cast of characters in the current world? Yeah.
Porn.
Yeah.
That's the next step.
Damn. Yeah.
Should we stop there?
It's a mixture. I do, you know, not because I sleep next to her, but I do have to quickly shout out my fiance, Alina. She's helped us at many stages, like kind of, you know, directly kind of through me, or like in meetings with us, she'll kind of throw ideas out. She's been really helpful in the way of like, you know, sometimes I'll sit there and I'll go, fuck, me and Cody like need like a new type of concept. She has like a lot of production experience. Like she used to produce for Apple, and so she's been really helpful in the way of like, oh, if you guys want to try this, I will produce it for you. And so that has been greatly helpful in figuring out, okay, what things do we do next? Like the thing we shot last week, I'm really stoked on that. Can we talk about it?
Yeah, let's just talk about it. Let's
do it.
We're gonna.
It's gonna be we're gonna do a Moment House show, and we essentially she helped like produce a fucking mashup of like Survivor, The Challenge, and what else would it be? It'd be like a little bit of it's mostly those two.
Man,
but like,
I loved The Challenge.
Yeah.
So
like,
she produced an original show that you're saying
Basically-
is like a mix of these things.
yeah, because we
With like contestants.
kind of, because what it started with is Cody and I were like, we want to chew on something different, but we want to do it our way. And, you know, so I was talking with her and she was like, well, you know, people like it when you guys interact, like, but they like it when you compete, clearly because of all the Cody Noel do stuff we do. And then she was like, what if you did like a weird like challenge mashup? Because we watch a lot of the challenge as well. I'm like, oh, fucking, I know me and Cody would love that shit, just because we're naturally a little bit competitive.
Yeah.
You know, we're a little bit, we try to be athletic. And then, I mean, this guy, 12 years experience. So I don't want to shit on his, this is an Olympian right here, dude.
Right.
But
An Olympic hopeful.
Olympic hopeful. Sorry. Yeah. Hopefully the Olympics will realize what they fucking missed out on.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we shot that out last week, and it was, I mean, that's some of the most fun we've had shooting in a minute. And it fully opened up this world where we were kind of like, dude, we could go 2v2 against other people. We could make this a total shootout where it's me, Cody, and then 4 other people competing all against each other. I mean, there's so many ways you could slice it. And we did it all in our own studio. That's cool. And go ahead.
I was going to say, that's what's great about these moments of like kind of dry, like, oh, what's next? What's next? Is that it leads to these moments where it's like, oh, fuck. It's like the ideas are, you know, running through your head, and it's like, we should do 5 of these just us, but then we should also have other YouTubers in on this, and this could become this whole other thing. It's like, you know, I love moments like that where, you know, you're in a ebb and then all of a sudden you reach this flow state.
Yeah. So I think that's like, in terms of next steps, I think that's really what dictates our next steps is we kind of draw on the resources around us. We kind of start with our gut and we say, this is getting stale, or we need to, you know, hey, we kind of need to refresh this idea that we've done in the past. Like Cody Noel Dudes we love, but we're like, maybe people want to see another version of us fucking around. That's kind of where it all stems from. That's Cringe is us fucking around. Cody Noel Dudes is completely us, like, you know, we're being told how to work out and we're not listening, or we're pretending to break our fucking ankles, whatever. And then this now can be us like fucking with each other, but it's still entertaining.
Eventually host your own version of Love Island.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started.
Too much?
Whoa, easy.
Don't get me. No. It's like, just don't. We had a bit back in the day. We wanted to call it the Influencer Peninsula. And yeah, stick a bunch of them on, but whatever. But I think that's how we kind of, you know, that is how we dictate next steps. Because now that we have this great new concept that we can work on and build on, now we can say, okay, we can build this into this show, and then it does well there. Okay, maybe let's extrapolate it or expand it and make it larger. Now we do it with, you know, other YouTubers or whoever, try to maybe draw some celebrity talent into it, and make it bigger than us. I think I think a general theme is that everything we work on now is, I think we see a little bit more into the future. So unlike with That's Cringe, where we're kind of like, oh, let's just make a video. Yeah. I think now we do think more in the realm of like, okay, if we do this, is it repeatable? And how expansive can we make it?
Sounds like you're thinking like
a media
executive. Yeah. I feel like this podcast was just like you guys going through a self-discovery of recognizing you are now media executives.
Kind of, yeah.
Damn.
I'm definitely...
I gotta buy a suit now.
Yeah. I'm definitely like reluctant to admit it sometimes. Yeah. You know, and I think it's funny. Alina will have to tell me, she's like, you and Cody are like doing a lot. And I'm like, nah, it's whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
We just want to make great stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And we want to put people on. Like, it feels good that, like, you know, Ben and Emil and Connor and Brooke have this amazing platform now. Not that they didn't before. You know, obviously TikTok's awesome, but like, you know, that we're able to give them this new format and this new platform and, you know, let their minds run wild with whatever they want to do, you know? And we have some talent coming up that we're signing right now that we're really, really thrilled that they get those opportunities as well.
Yeah, so building people up is a really dope feeling. Yeah.
And working with them.
Yeah.
Like, it's great that, you know, we sign someone and then all of a sudden we're shooting a video for a Moment House show or for TMG Studios, and we're like, we get to film a sketch for them, like the cult sketch that we did for TMG Studios. That was great.
You know? That was like a moment where I felt like I felt the universe. Right? I was like, oh, this is talent as a part of TMG.
And now every time we come up with an idea where we're like, this game show thing, for example,
obviously,
or anything else, like a sketch or whatever, like for the Moment House show, we had, you know, we were like, well, we need someone to come in and pretend they just got their arm eaten by a tiger, and that person was Ben. Because like anything that we do now, we're like, oh, we have this great roster of comedic talent. Let's plug them in, and then it becomes something great.
I feel like especially for people from TikTok, that's a huge service because it's extremely difficult to go from TikTok to having anything long form. And that's where you can sustain a business. Like
that's very true. I want to just shout out to, you know, we talked. I think this is the first time we like really delved into like the business. So would be remiss if we didn't shout out everyone that works for
Yeah.
TMG
Oh, yeah.
Studios. Also,
Yeah.
like Mazad, our representation.
Yeah.
You know, everyone, we have incredible teams and support systems around us, our fiancés.
Definitely.
So, yeah, definitely wouldn't be where we are without them. And if you want to work for TMG Studios, you can email jobs@tmgstudios.tv.
Okay, that'll be on the
Jobs
screen.
at tmgstudios.tv. And if you have a podcast idea that you want produced, podcasts at tmgstudios.tv.
Well, on that note, like if people are, there's going to be people who are watching this who want to pitch you guys a podcast. What makes a good podcast pitch for you guys?
And does it have to be comedy? Like, what's the thread?
No. I think we're open to anything.
Could it be like a multicultural duo who talks about like entrepreneurship and the creative space?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like, could it be?
Yeah. Yeah, we excel. We excel in one white guy and one ethnically vague
guy
combo. We excel in that category.
It is a good combo though.
Yeah.
It presents a lot of opportunities.
Yes, it does. Yeah. You open up both sides.
Yeah, there's the comfort of Colin and the exotic nature of Samir.
Yeah. And you're deemed safe next to Colin.
Right.
So.
I'm deemed safe. I've literally said that to him before.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's good that we're a pair, man, because I'm.
Yeah. It's harder.
All right. So if you're in an
ethnically
biracial
diverse duo.
creative relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
But are there any other outside of that?
You're not that.
I kind of want, I want to do a true crime show.
Yeah.
But like some funny angle on it. Doesn't necessarily have to be comedy, but make it unique because there's so many true crime shows right now.
Yeah.
But I really want to do that. That feels like just like a winning formula.
How does like podcasting revenue break down? Like, between, I guess, membership, AdSense, brand deals. Are brands deals still part of that, like a significant part of that world? Like, how do you guys look at that?
Yeah, I mean, with the ad reads that we do, it's all, I would say, obviously our subscribers, those are the people that we really put at the front in terms of priorities because they're the ones listening every week. They're paying every month. We want to make them happy.
To what website?
TMGstudios.tv.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. And which you can learn more by just going to TMGstudios.tv about the service that we offer. And then you actually don't, we'll do ad reads, but those aren't, you don't hear those on TMGstudios.tv. So that's just a completely.
So the episodes are ad free on TMGstudios.tv?
Yeah, yes, they are. There's actually there's bonus content on TMGstudios.tv.
Yeah. Yep. Just surrounded by media executives.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Corporate America over here across the table from us.
But so then, there's brand deals, and then AdSense, we don't prioritize that, or we don't concern ourselves with it too much. It is important, but
podcast wise, we don't make that much AdSense. But when we do a Cody Noel do, we make decent AdSense money.
Yeah,
not enough. Like they cost it costs like a decent amount to produce those. So usually with AdSense, we'll break even or make a little bit of money on AdSense if we do a Cody Noel do nowadays. Before we used to make a ton of money, but they get less views now. So we kind of break even, and then if we do a brand deal, that's when we in that video, that's where we actually profit.
Yeah,
got it. Yeah, it's interesting. Do either of you guys live in your YouTube studios, or do you guys not really care about those? Like, just check your analytics all the time?
I check it pretty often.
You check it often?
I just try to remain sane.
Yeah.
So I
had to delete it off my phone.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't need to know.
Yeah. I just upload, and I just either ask Alina or my production assistant. Alina manages a lot of my YouTube stuff. So I'm like, is it good? She's like, yeah. And I just go, no more. No more. It's just us now. But yeah.
Were there any oh shit moments collectively with you guys, whether it was a deal for a certain amount of money or a milestone in your career, like a cultural moment, whether it was on Hot Ones or something like that? Any moment where you two reflect back and it was just at the time a holy shit type of thing?
I think the biggest those shit moments still was being in Elon Musk's party house.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually that was Or when we went to Europe with Post Malone and recorded a podcast episode with him and went to 5 of his shows, and then Like that was a pretty wild like few weeks. But
Yeah.
when we were actually in Elon Musk's house,
Yeah.
and there was a moment like after we left where we were both like sitting on the curb, like children, like waiting for an Uber at 4 a.m. outside of Elon Musk's house. And we were just like, what the fuck just happened?
How did you get invited to Elon Musk's house?
One of Post Malone's high school friends introduced him to That's Cringe, and then he just followed us on Twitter. And he just DM'd us. And then I was like, oh, I appreciate the follow, man. And he just sent me his number. And he was like, let's hang out. I'm like, okay. So he put us in a thread. He was flying back from tour. He touches down in LA. We go meet him at a bar. We're hanging out. And then he goes, y'all want to go to Elon's? And we laugh. We're like, and he goes, yeah, let's go. And we're like, okay.
He's like, I'm texting him right now. We're like,
he just he turns his phone to us.
Sure. He's like, sure enough, it's like Elon Musk. And we're like, what? Oh, this is for real? You actually want to go to? He's like, yeah, let's go right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, we pulled up to his house, and him and Grimes were standing on the driveway, just like with lanterns.
Yeah.
That kind of checks out.
Weird.
That checks out.
Yeah.
That checks out.
And
Yeah.
Super strange vibe.
yeah, it proceeded to be a very, very weird night.
I peed in one of the bathrooms, and I took a picture of me in the mirror like I'm pissing in Elon's bathroom. We hung out for a minute, and then it got to a point where we were like, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Our girlfriend's like, where are you? We're like, we're at Elon Musk's house. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. And then, at 4 a.m., we're waiting for an Uber, just laughing like, what the fuck,
Yeah,
dude?
that's a wild moment.
Weird.
Truly.
I think you talked about, Cody, also like Jack Harlow at one point turning to you and being like being a fan of the content. Is that like more? Did you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, we had texted because I've been a fan of his music for a long time.
Yeah.
And so we like started. I don't even know how we like met or started talking initially. But I think I don't even know how. But we used to text and send DMs back and forth and stuff like that. And then, I did this like TikTok, like making fun of one of the lines in his new song. And that's what it was. I
got
saw him at Coachella, and he was like, "Oh man, I saw that TikTok," and I was like, "Ah, oh, fuck."
Yeah.
Like,
Is
no, I
that
thought it was
cultural
funny.
impact though, like crazy that these like, I don't know, like
I think
Post
that's
Malone,
more. I think that's
Jack
just
Harlow?
a testament to the power of TikTok more than it is our impact. You know, I think it's just like if you make a TikTok about something, chances are, or somebody, chances are they're gonna fucking see it because
got it.
Everyone sees it. You know.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool when we went to Louisville. Jack put us in touch with like some of his childhood friends.
Yeah,
cool.
we're friends with his like immediate group of people. We haven't really talked to him in a while besides the Coachella thing.
Shlu,
But
Ace, 2 for 1. What's up? If you happen to see this, we hung out with them and but yeah, Jack's been nice to us.
Mm-hmm.
he didn't unfollow either of us after you clowned him, so
okay, good.
That's good.
Good. No, I think he actually thought it was funny because he was like, I thought that was funny. And I was like, thanks. And then he walked off with 9 bodyguards. And I was like, okay, bye.
All right. That was great, guys. Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
TMG Studios.tv. Check it out.